based on these pieces and other things that you've written, you have a lot of extra musical inspiration, both visual, textual. And I was curious about that. Is that something that kind of gets you inspired, or is it something you think helps the audience leap in? Like, what's the primary motivation, or is it different for each piece?
I at some point in my artistic life decided to be very honest about the sources of my inspiration for music making. I became highly intrigued by trying to explore what visual artists in the 20th and 21st century are doing, because in the end, when I'm talking to all my artist friends, and we went through like 2 bottles of wine and hitting a conversation, we realized that we're all dealing with the same problems or idioms. We're just working in different material, but in the end we're just all struggling with the same elements that create art. So I'm very inspired by what art historians call the American minimalism. Artists like Cy Twombly, Agnes Martin, Bryce Martin, Robert Ryman, Donald Judd, Rothko, Barnett Newman, just to name a few. And what I try to do in some of my works is to translate their process of how they create layers, how they create perspective, and to try to translate a visual perspective into the sonic phenomenon. And that leads us directly to a piece Mana has programmed for the festival, which is called Study for Treatise on the Veil, and it refers directly to a painting of Cy Twombly. I have it here. This is a huge piece, which is in the collection of the Museum for Contemporary Art in Cologne, consisting of 6 panels, and it's called Treatise on the Veil. What Cy Twombly, as you can see, I mean, you can't really differentiate that it's actually consisting of 6 individual panels, which are kind of hinged to each other, is that he is drawing that perspective line with some very cryptic inscriptions. It's numbers, it's figures, it's measurements. And what he does is that he doesn't really give us any explanation, but he stimulates our potential of creativity. And what I try to do with this piece is to create layers of sonic perspective. The instruments are partly prepared with paper clips, which make them sound like they're electronically transformed. And in due course, the technique of playing and the technique of how harmonics are produced or not produced is kind of developing, and in due course the preparation is removed and the sounds are shifting higher and higher and higher. So there's a constant motion or direction in the piece, though at some point it sounds very static, but it always is aiming or longing for finding movement in its static qualities, like looking at a painting. And
it seems to bear some relationship to time. It seems like this painting is somehow capturing time. It looks almost like a timeline. It almost looks like a musical staff.
It's playing with the time, or how we perceive time. And it's also sometimes cheating with our perception of how the time flows or is stopped. I mean, it looks like a charcoal background with graphite horizontal lines. And I think it tells us something about time. And how time flows, and that there are different, very, very different ways of how to perceive the speed of time. And of course that's something that's very intriguing and fascinating for a musician to really investigate in that phenomenon.
Yeah, because time is rhythm, time is structure, time is counterpoint, all